All right, everyone. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Educational Network's first ever Back to School Expo. My name is Ryan Clancy, and I'm the Client Success Manager here at EduNet, and I'm excited to have each and every one of you joining us here for our first presentation, Meet Our New Admin System. What we're going to be doing today, of course, is we're going to be taking a look at the new features that CMS3 offers over at CMS2. And please remember, too, that we encourage questions throughout today's training session. Remember to ask questions. What you want to do is you want to open up the chat window, and that can be accessed by clicking on that little bubble icon for your go-to training session. What we'll be then discussing are some new guides that we're going to be releasing today, some new videos as well to help you with your website. And we even created a new guide here for CMS3. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and let's get started. A major change that we had from CMS2 to CMS3 is that we have gone in and we've made it a lot easier to log in. If you remember with CMS2 or even with CMS1, sometimes we call those our classic CMSs. With those, what you had to do is you needed to go in and you had to go to an entirely separate link. This would involve you going in and putting the word admin in front of your school's domain name to go in and to access the login window. And that actually looked a lot like this over here. Actually, CMS3's login window, for that matter, looks very similar to that as well. And what that would go in and bring you to is essentially an admin site that looks like this right over here, where we have all the modules on the left. And along with that too, if you go to the dashboard, you'd have a listing of the day's webinars. So the great thing is with CMS3, we've made this so much easier. Now you can actually go in and pretty much log in from anywhere on the website. Let's take a look at that. So we go to the school's actual site, so actual URL, actual domain name, and we're able to log in pretty much from anywhere. So let's say, as an example, I'm reviewing the site, and this is one reason that this is so neat. Just a moment. There we are. So if we look over here, we notice that we have a typo. So, we may just be reviewing the site. We may not be even logged in. Cool thing is we see that. What's great is we can log in right from this part of the website. And we want to remember to go in and to sign in. What we want to do is, if we're using a PC, we want to go in and double click the control key. Whereas if we're using a Mac, what we'll want to do instead is we're going to want to go in and double click the command key. So what's great about that, I sign in, and that, of course, brings me right into the page editor. So for anything that's created with the page editor, you're able to edit the content right on the site itself. So when we see a typo like this, we can go in very quickly and easily fix that. So it does make it easier to make quick changes like that. So that's something there that's pretty cool. Now, along with that, you have an all new look to the CMS as well. So one thing is we've taken essentially what was in CMS2 and we brought it all within this toolbar. And what's great about that is that it makes it easier to be able to go in and to be able to navigate to different components so we can go in and edit them. I've always found that usually the trickiest thing when you are going in and you're learning new software, whether it's a graphics design program, even a video game, usually the trickiest thing is just knowing where to go so you can edit everything. CMS3 offers a lot of improvements with this. One thing that's really nice about CMS3 is that you could pretty much access everything you need to edit just from this main menu button that you see here. And what also makes it easier is that everything's categorized, and they are, what's cool as well, very logical categories. One thing that I always point out, and whenever you've joined me for training sessions, I always point out that, for example, you can pretty much find your entire homepage just in between information and photos and multimedia. Along with that too, it's also easier to navigate because we now have the capability on certain parts of the website to go in and to be able to edit the content right on the page itself with the page editor, which is really great as well. So that's going to be definitely something there that is really, really cool. Now, what's great as well is that you're going to have some neat new ways that you can go in and create and edit your pages with this here as well. So that's something there that is really, really cool for that there. We have a great question over here. And this question here comes to us from Melissa. Thank you, Melissa. Melissa asks, if you're logged on to the new CMS and the old backend of the website at the same time, when you log out of one, does it also log you out of the other one as well? You know what? That's a great question. I know a lot of cases, if you're signed in, for example, to our classic CMS, when you go to the live site, you'll then be logged into the new version of our software here. Let's take a look at this and find out. That's an excellent question. And to be honest with you, I'm not too sure, but we can definitely go in and find out. So be just a moment here. All righty, everyone. We're just going to go in and give this a try. Move that there. All right. So we're now logged into CMS2 as well as CMS3. So let's go in. Let's try logging out of CMS2 and we'll see what happens here. All right, let's refresh the screen. So in this case, and we're going to go in and give this a try. So we're going to put some text in here just to test this. It actually looks like it keeps you in CMS3. So that's something pretty cool there for that. So that's something that's important to note there. So that does keep us logged in within CMS3. And we can even see that if we go to, and actually though, if you do try to log into another module, in that case, you would be logged out. So that is something there that's important to note for that. So I went in and tried to go to stores, and I can see here that I am logged out there. It's an excellent question, Melissa. Thank you. All righty, everyone. So going in and taking a look at our new CMS, this has given us new ways to be able to go in and to be able to edit pages on the website. Now, this gives us great tools to be able to go in and to be able to work with photos as well as files as well. But we also have some other really cool content blocks that are available to you as well. So as an example here, let's say we're looking at our music department page, and we may want to add a table, maybe that shows the classes that are offered every single semester. So between the fall and the spring semesters. All we need to do in that case, and what the steps I'm going to be showing you, you would follow those as well if you instead wanted to add another photo. So I'm going to add it just beneath this image. What we do is we right click, select insert below, and I find the block I want to add on, which is this right over here, the table. And we just go in, we title this here. So we'll type in, whoops, give that another try. Type in classes offered. And we'll go in and set this here, I think to veranda. That would look a little bit better that way for that. Let's make sure that's veranda. There we are. Perfect. Now, what's great as well is you can actually expand the table out as you find you need to. So in this case, this table, we don't need as many columns as it's giving us right now. So we just go in and we remove those. So we go column 5, delete, column 4, delete as well. And then what we do here is we're going to type in classes. So this will be kind of our column for the classes. And actually what we can do here is we can even remove this one here as well. So we'll go in, we'll type in, for example, band, choir, band. And then what you're able to do, so we see we need some more room for marching band. Otherwise, it's on, it's on two separate lines. That really doesn't look the best. But what's great is you can go in and expand this out as you need to as well. So I go in, I'm just going to go in and set this up here. So we'll say term. So we're going to do fall and spring. Expand this out just a little bit more. And everybody, please feel free to ask any questions you have. To go in and to ask questions, remember, you just want to type those in the chat box, and I'm going to be happy to go in and to help with those. So we'll do fall and spring for this one here. It'll be just fall. So this is a great example, one of the options that are available to you for one of the content blocks there. Now, of course, an important part of the page editor is the ability to go in and to be able to add new images as well. So that's going to be something here we're going to look at next. Now, we have a few different content blocks that allow you to go in and be able to add images. You have one that is just a photo, but along with that too, especially what's great is when you're perhaps introducing members of the administration or, perhaps the head of a particular department, you have content blocks that feature both photos as well as text too. So let's find a page that we can go in and we can add a photo to. So let's go actually over to our mission statement. And that's also something created with our page editor. So I just simply go in, I find it on our navigation menu, and we're able to start going in and we're able to start editing the pages here as well. So I want to add a content block for photos. So to do this here, all I need to do is I go in, I right click, I select either insert above or insert below. And when I do this, I can choose from these options. So in this case, we'll say photo in the center. Now, when we do that, one of the ways that we can go in and we can add images on is we simply go in, we click on the photo, and then after that, what we'll do is we'll go in and we'll select change image. I'll just go in and I'll pull this up here. I'll find a good photo to go with this. Why don't we go with this one here? That'd be a perfect photo to use. And then all we do after this is we just go in, we expand this out. Just like that. So that's another great option you have, is you do have the ability to add some adjustment to that particular photo as well. Now, we might look at this here as well, and we may say, you know what, the spacing between the photo and the text really isn't the best. Great thing is, very easily we can go in and we can fix this. And we do this simply by bringing our mouse over here to the top of the lower content block. So you'll always do this with the lower content block. And we can bring this down. You can bring it down by up to 20 pixels, which is really, really cool for that as well. And I have a great question here from Melissa, and this is an excellent question. Is there a way to go in and to add video to the homepage? Absolutely. Now, one of the things that might depend on is you have to just ensure that your site is set up to have the video gallery on the homepage. If not, what you'll want to do is you'll want to send in a ticket to our tech support team. And with that, you just want to request this be added. Our team would just have to look at that just to make sure that we can fit that onto your homepage. But most always, we're going to be able to go in and to be able to do that there for that. And then you actually bring up, and Melissa, you bring up an excellent point. You're mentioning that you have the rotating images. So we can go in and swap rotating images out for video. So if you want to provide us with a video, just some things to keep in mind with that is the videos would be, or they're limited to 25 seconds, but that is also something that can be, that is definitely something we can do. So we can definitely swap out rotating images for videos as well. Some excellent questions. Thank you, Melissa. So that's something cool that you can do there. Now, with that there, so we've gone in, we've added a photo. One of the things that we can do here as well is we can go in, we might look at this page and we may decide, you know what, it would be better to have the photo underneath the text. Cool thing is that you don't need to go in and delete anything on here. All you're going to do is you bring your mouse to either of the content blocks, so text or the photos, and we right click. And for example, if I click move up, we're able to go in and make that adjustment there. So that's something there that makes making changes like that easier when you're working with the page editor as well. So we had a chance today to see how we can go in and add tables on. That's one of the great content blocks that you have available to you. One thing else too is that CMS3 is going to offer is that it offers some great options to help with website accessibility. And that can be something there that can be very, very helpful. And one of the ways that we can do that is by going in and adding on headings to our pages. Now, the question is, why do headings make a page more accessible? Well, essentially what they do is they go in and they add structure to the page. So that allows screen reading programs to make it easier for their users to go in and to be able to navigate a page. So going in and taking a look at that, we can go to really any page on here. We'll say, as an example, we're going to go over, let's go actually back to the music department. In that case, we'll leave that be. That's all right. Now, in this case, this is already formatted. I see this over here that we have the correct formatting for the pages. But let's say for a moment it didn't, that maybe we didn't have any headings on here. Maybe instead, I am not spelling well today, but that's okay. What I can do here, so we'll say, for example, that this is just set to normal text. Maybe we have it bold and underlined. And that's sometimes something that can be pretty common there. And maybe here as well for programs offered. Now, this does change the appearance of it, just having the text bold or underlined, but it doesn't do anything in terms of setting the page up to make sure that it is more accessible. And that's where headings come into play. Now, with headings, something that's important to remember that in most cases, not all, it's not something that's absolute by any means, you're going to want to go in order. One way to think of it is as if you're writing out an essay. You know how with an essay, you have your introductory sentence, you have your introductory paragraph. So essentially, your first heading is like your introductory paragraph, along with the content that goes with it. And then underneath that, you have essentially the body content and then your conclusion paragraph. So essentially, our introductory paragraph would be heading 1. And then underneath that, we would have our body paragraphs and also to our concluding paragraphs. Those would all likely be set up as heading 2. So as an example, I go in here and I can set this up. We set that as heading 1. And then what we do after that is we can go in and set up the other headings that we have as well. So heading 2. And this is actually kind of where we see that this is not something that is always going to apply. So I mentioned generally you want to go in order for the headings. Now, if we go down over to where it says staff, we have to ask ourselves, is that on the same level of kind of the heading hierarchy as programs offered is? It is. So that's kind of one of those exceptions. Both of these here are set up as heading 2. So this really can be a great way for you to be able to go in and to make your pages more accessible. And the cool thing is that it's also very, very easy to be able to go in and to do that as well. All right, looks like we have a question here. Let's take a look. All right, and this next question that we have comes to us from Laura. Thank you, Laura. Laura asks, is there a way to make the image wider on the web page if the size is maxed out? Great question. Now, within the editor itself, there wouldn't be. One of the things that you can request, you would want to send in a tech support ticket for this. If that is the case, one option would be to go in and send it over to our tech support team, and we can see if maybe we can make it a little bit larger, and also see what the best way forward for that as well. So one option would maybe to see about getting that embedded for that. Thank you, Laura. It's an excellent question. All right, so we've seen everybody how we can go in and how we can add headings. Now, there's an interesting looking button over here. You may have seen it. Kind of looks like an emoji. Question is, what exactly is this going to do? Well, what happens with this is we go in, we click on this, and it actually provides recommendations. So in this case, what's being suggested to us is that we go in, we add on alt text to improve the accessibility of that image. So the question is, why does alt text help with accessibility? Well, it has to do with how screen reading programs are going to work. If we go in and we open up our file browser and we go over to where we have the photos, so be just a moment. All right. There they are. Took me just a moment to go in and pull that up. If you look at the file names, they don't all necessarily tell us anything about that particular image. And we see that here with the photo we already have on the page. You know, that file name is really just something from, you know, where the photo was, you know, where it was essentially purchased from. So with that, we definitely want to go in and change that out. So this allows us to be able to tell our website visitors who are using screen readers something about the photo. And for that reason, it's best when we do this that we describe exactly what is going on there. What I do is I go in, and the cool thing is you don't have to code anything for this. You simply go in, you right click, whoops. Just a moment, everybody. All right, everyone. So what we're going to go in and do is we'll add on our alt text. Now, there is another option, and actually this photo would actually probably fall underneath that. So you have the option to add the image on as decorative. So what that does, it actually tells screen reading programs to go in and to essentially skip over the photo. It tells them not to read that file name. In this case, though, I am going to add the alt text. We'll type in R 2022 to 2023 music department leaders. So we'll say like these are the drum majors of the band, or the class presidents, things like that. And we just go in and click apply after we do that. What we then do is we go in, we click the emoji icon, and that's telling us now that the page looks good. So it has no further recommendations for us. But that can be a great tool as you're going in, you're creating pages, to always check before you go in and share the link to your page or add it to navigation. You add those so your website visitors can go in and to be able to access those there. So that's something there that is definitely really cool. Now, something else that this offers as well is that you do have an easier way to go in and to add files on as well. So that's something there that is important to note. It used to be if you wanted to go in and you wanted to add files to text, that you would have to always first start by going to the file manager. Now, for example, if you are going to go in and add files to the navigation menu, definitely something you can do. You still will go in and start by going over through the file manager. You'll add it first to the file manager. But what's great about this here as well is that with the page editor, you can go in and actually link files to text within the editor itself. So this takes a lot of steps out of the process for going in and being able to add files, which is pretty neat there. All right, everybody. So let's see how we would go in and work with that. So just going over to this page, we'll say that we want to add some documents. Actually, we'll just add a heading on here. So we'll type in important documents. Please feel free, everybody, to continue sending in any questions that you have. and I will be happy to help. We have a great question here, and this is from Melissa. This is an excellent question. Melissa asks, will you be emailing this presentation to all attendees for future reference? I'd be happy to go in and do that, absolutely, for that. So I'll go ahead and send that out. The recording for this, we're going to be posting onto our company YouTube channel. So that's something that's important to know. All right, everybody. So for this here, I'm going to first set this as a heading. So this is also going to be something that we'll set as heading 2. So that kind of as that exception comes into play there. So let's say we want to add our student expectations for the music department. We want to add those on. Type in student expectations. And what we do now is we simply go in, we highlight over this, click the link icon, switch this to document, and all I need to do from here, just going to go in and pull this up. All right, we're going to go in and all right, let's see. There it is. We have our student expectations. We're simply going in, we're clicking. Whoops. We're going to go in, we're going to click, drag and drop. And by doing that there, everyone, we've gone in just by clicking, dragging, and dropping that file down, we've gone in and we've linked that file to text. So what's great about that is that takes so many steps out of the process when you are adding files to a page like this over here for that. Now, one thing else that's important to note about the page editor is that teachers, your staff, even if they do not have admin access, they have access to use the page editor as well. So the cool thing is it's something that's not just limited to website admins. So we can go in, if we take a look at Mr. Evans' page, we can pull that up here. We go over to the staff directory. Remember, that's going to be the main way that you are going to access teacher pages. We go in, we find his profile, and we see how he was able to go in and to use the page editor. So I can actually go in, I'll actually go to my teacher page. And I can see how I have the use of that editor. So, I can definitely go in and, whoops, I guess we can kind of make this our title. But along with that as well, we have access to all of those content blocks that we saw previously as well. So this is something here that's going to really allow your staff to make their teacher pages all their own. And remember, we do offer trainings for your staff as well. We do host regularly scheduled webinars for teacher pages. We do have one scheduled for tomorrow as part of this expo. And then what we'll usually do, though, when we're doing just our regular workshops, they are really held as a workshop where we go in and we encourage our participants to go in and to build out either a teacher page. When we're doing one on forms, we encourage them to do that within the workshop itself. And the benefit of that is any questions that they have can be answered during that time. And as always, we always encourage questions during that. So that's something pretty cool. And keep an eye out for that webinar schedule. That's something that is sent out every Tuesday currently. All right, everyone. What I want to go ahead and do right now is I want to make sure to go in and I want to turn the floor over to you to ask any questions that you have. In the meantime, I would like to go in and to share our Expo page with you. We have our new guides out, our new videos. We do even have a guide called Getting Started with CMS 3 that is available for you to download. So definitely something to go in and to be able to take a look at. I am going in and pulling it up right over here. It talks about signing in. Also, too, with that, our new page editor as well. Now, everyone, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us for our first webinar of our Back to School Expo. One thing I want to do right now is I want to go in and share with everybody the links for our contests. We are doing contests as part of this expo as well, and it's a great opportunity. You can win a $50 Amazon gift card. We're doing them for the best teacher page, best department page, and best form as well. If you would like to participate in this, the submissions for this contest, they are due by 11:59 p.m. tonight, and we will be revealing the winners tomorrow during our contest webinar. We're going to be going in and showcasing that. And also we'll be sharing too why those pages, forms, why they work so well. So I'm going to go in and drop this here in the chat box. So we all have that there. And also, too, I do want to make sure we go in and we share our guide with you, too. So I'm going to go in and drop this in the chat box as well for that. So that'll be available for you. Everyone, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here today. I've had a lot of fun so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you to have fun with you today as we go in and we all have a chance to participate in this expo here as well. And I have a great question here from Melissa. Melissa asks, if I edit a page using the new CMS, am I required to use the new CMS to edit that specific page in the future? So that's a great question. The answer to that question is for that you would be. So once you go in and edit a page with the new CMS, and I think in most cases that is currently the only option for that, you will need to edit that using the new CMS. Just remember, too, that our team is always here to help with any questions that you have. And part of that is we have our tech support team available to you as well. You know, one of the cool things about tech support, they're an awesome team to work with. What's also great as well is that they are available to you for the vast majority of the day. So on weekdays, Monday through Friday, they're actually available to you from 8:30 a.m. Eastern all the way up until 3 a.m. So for the vast majority of that 24-hour period, we'll have someone available to answer any questions you have over the phone. Now, in terms of tickets, what you'll want to do is you want to go in, you click Create New Ticket. It is best to be as detailed as possible. I always suggest that if you would like to go in and embed a document as an example, going in and including the link to the page you want to send that to, you want us to go in and to add that on to as well. All right, everybody. Well, hey, I want to thank all of you all for joining us here today. As I always like to say, keep inspiring those future generations, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you here all again very, very shortly. Take care, everybody.